Hey everybody, it's PJ Homertz here again, and I'm really excited to bring another opportunity that we have to mobilize short-termers in a meaningful way. For more information about this placement, you could find the CHARIS requisition number right here, as it is at the time of filming. You could also contact the Diaspora Region office. They'll be able to provide you with more information as well as potentially some videos as well as some frequently asked questions and other documents. So feel free to reach out for these additional resources. Hopefully this video will give you enough information to get you started and what you'll need to find the right short-termers for this particular opportunity. Today we'll be talking with our partner in Rome, Todd Kincaid, who will be overseeing this apprenticeship, as well as Rachel McCordick, who is our short-term coordinator for Canada. We'll also be joined by John Becker, who is our unit leader for our Europe Diaspora unit. So let's join them on the call and find out what we can about this awesome opportunity for short-termers to learn about mission in a real hands-on way. John is the unit leader for the diaspora region there in Europe. How does the apprenticeship in Rome, how does that tie into AIM's strategy for our work in diaspora in Europe?
Yeah, great question. Thanks, PJ. One of the ways we wanted to, right from the beginning, in terms of our posture in starting groups and teams in Europe among African diaspora, was to work through collaboration and establishing networks of like-minded organizations, looking for opportunities to create synergy in certain countries and priority cities. And so that's our whole strategy, is to come alongside not only the local churches in Europe, but also partner with organizations that already have established work but need laborers. So what that looks like is us, we establish a memorandum of understanding with these organizations, and there has to be some clear indicators that communicate real partnership could happen, and that is that our visions are aligned, that we're trying to go after the same thing. So one of the ways we do that is through the different internships or apprenticeship programs that have been established. We just think they're great. We'd love to see more of our people start that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, thanks so much. Appreciate all you're doing. Todd, just a quick introduction about yourself. Then from there, just moving into kind of your story a little bit, how you got to doing what you do there, how that's kind of come to be.
Yeah, my name is Todd Kincaid, and my wife's name is Christy. We're with the International Project, I should say that, which is based in New York City. And our mission is focused on reaching diaspora people groups. You know, we're the first team in Europe, but we have a number of teams in the US and major cities there. So our story, the short version is we left for the mission field at a very young age and spent 12 years on the mission field full time in Haiti, France, and East Africa over those 12 years. And after that, the Lord called us to return to the States to pastor a new church plant, a new church start. We did that for 11 years. And during that time, the Lord really began to burden us for the major cities in Europe and just how strategic working among the diaspora is, and especially reaching the unreached people groups. And eventually, you know, the Lord led us to begin praying specifically about where in Europe. We knew what God was calling us to do. And yeah, kind of a surprise to us. It was not first or even second on our list. We ended up in Rome, and you know, Rome was not really a very strategic place to be for migrant work. And of course, about 6 months after we got here in 2014, this flood of migration opened up. And I mean, in God's sovereignty, it wasn't our intelligence, but His sovereignty. It just put us at the right place in the right time.
What does the ministry itself look like then around the Rome area?
So we operate a small migrant center in the city. The center, the migrant center that we run, kind of operates as our platform. And so, the past 5 years, we've had people from 60 different countries pass through this little center we run. 6 of the 10 largest unreached people groups we've had access to here in the city. So we work with migrant families who are settled, raising their kids here, and also with refugees, and many camps in the city, and connect with refugees in various ways, and also international students. So there's a lot of access to the unreached people groups. Yeah, kind of a surprise to us. One of the big things that we're doing now is teaching English to kids, to adults, but especially to kids. And so people coming from Canada, America, it doesn't mean you have to be, a master's degree in English or anything, but a native tongue speaker in English can plug into, working with the kids, working with the adults. We do lots of things with English. So that gives a short term or two opportunity to do something without translation and all that. We have some English Bible studies going. So we have a lot of English medium things happening. So the center is kind of that platform, which obviously if you're teaching someone in class, a cup of coffee, lunch here, that can lead to ministry opportunities. But then also we go into the streets and into the camps and, places that refugees hang out and do street evangelism as well. We want to encourage people to engage Muslims, just cold evangelism, we might call it, and kind of equip them with some tools to do that. So we do both of those.
Tell me more about the apprenticeship. That's what we're looking to put people there short term. What does that look like?
Yeah, it's fairly new, but something that's been in our hearts for a long time. Just having started at an early age in missions, we've just had a heart to help young people in a way that we didn't really get helped, along the way early on. But the intention is really to serve as kind of a bridge when someone feels called to cross-cultural work. Maybe they've had some kind of training, some Bible school or whatever. But kind of that in between the training and the field, just a time to be mentored, to be further trained, to grow more in their own formation. Also understanding of their spiritual gifts and how that plugs into the ministry, which also has a bearing on their calling. And also doing all that in a team context, which interpersonal conflict is a big reason for a lot of the attrition on the mission field.
The training piece of the internship, is that kind of as they're going, you guys are speaking into them, or is there like classroom work, or what does the training piece of the internship look like?
Yeah, so initially the first 3 weeks or so, we have kind of an intensive time of training, orientation, and they're new in the city and maybe they've never been exposed to Muslims at all, and Hindus, so a little bit of intensive training at the beginning. But after we get into our regular schedule, we generally have 2 training days a week, most of the morning into the early afternoon. And then the rest of it is, learning as we go and spending time as a team praying and, kind of feedback, debriefing on, what happened today and that type of thing. And we talk about team life and things that typically cause teams to fall apart and deal with their own spiritual formation, encouraging them in that. And then also they're meeting with their mentor every week. And so there's a lot of opportunity for classroom and also for more informal learning, training, face-to-face learning.
Rachel, for you, with what you've heard, any questions you have that a potential mobilizer would want to know about, or a potential short-termer that you think would be interested in this, that they would, types of questions that they would have that could be helpful?
I think for a lot of short-termers who haven't been involved in ministry before, they just want a really concrete idea of what life is going to look like. If you had to kind of put it in a nutshell, what would kind of a daily routine or a weekly routine, what are some of the regular things that short-termers would be doing?
A typical day, yeah, there is not really a typical day, but so, as a team, we would have devotional time in the morning. followed by, if it's a training day, we would have, following the devotion, we'd have training up until lunchtime, 1 o'clock or so. So on a regular basis, there would be, time as a team for study and prayer and fellowship, ministry at the center, and then also outreach, in some form, campus, camps, streets, parks, things like that. We have a definite time in the week where, as a team, apprentices and our long-term team, we eat together, we have fun together, play games, pray together. Kind of, it's always a debriefing time. It's kind of like an as you're going type of training. And then most likely, as things get going in the year, 2 to 3 times a week, they would be working at the center in some capacity. They don't have to teach necessarily, but they're serving. There's all kinds of things to do. And we're looking to, we have help with homework for kids. We have, teaching classes, working the reception, could be serving tea to the mothers who are waiting, that type of hands-on stuff, which is a little less intimidating than walking up to a Muslim on the street, and saying, hey, let's talk about Jesus, So it kind of helps people wade in a little bit. We have like an English small group Bible study at the center on Wednesdays. And we eat, and we even have refugees who come to that Bible study and stuff like that. And then the typical week, a person would have at least 1 day free, sometimes 2, depending on what's happening in the week. And then we would have probably 2 to 3 afternoons or evening, depending on what time of year it is, the weather, where we're out, visiting a camp or going to places where refugees would be. Typically go into the city to an area, then we probably divide up into 2 by 2 or 3 by 3, something like that.
That's great. That's very helpful. Just as you're talking about teams and kind of the team dynamic, what would living accommodations look like? Are you living all together in a house, or are people kind of separate in different apartments? What does that look like?
So we have a house that we rent, like for our part of our team and our apprentices and short-termers. It's actually like a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house with a big sitting room and kitchen. And so we use that for all of our short-termers. And it's got a big garden, big yard. It's within walking distance of the metro. So it's nicely divided too, like the kitchen's in the middle, and there's 2 rooms on this side, through a door, 2 rooms on this side. So we keep the guys on one side, girls on the other side. So that's part of the team experience too, is, cleaning up dishes and eating together, and whose turn is it to clean the bathroom, all those great things, And so we're kind of living in a team context, ministering, eating, living, and all that stuff in a team context. So it gives a person kind of a hands-on experience, in addition to having mentoring for people, them learning the ins and outs a little bit of operating in a team and a foreign culture and all those types of things that, make mission more stressful and cause problems down the road.
So a lot of, it's typically college students that kind of are looking for this type of experience, and they have a lot of classroom experience, they have a lot of book knowledge. What would you say to students who are saying like, hey, I've done the school thing, what makes your training program different than just being in a classroom on a college campus?
Yeah, I would say majority of what we study together is directly applicable to what we're doing. It's not so much really heavy on the training part as it is a little bit of training, and then let's go apply this now in our team life and our outreach. So, but the other side is the mentoring aspect of it. Especially the 9-month program. I mean, really it's more of a life on life thing, to where we want to encourage them, and there's continuing spiritual formation and just helping them really discern their gifts and their calling. And so we do study, better effective ways to reach Muslims and things about team life and all that. Yeah, because it's an apprenticeship, so it's learning by doing it, and assuming that they've already had some kind of training, we just kind of supplement that a little bit, and then really focus on the things that I think we don't get taught a lot about in Bible school and seminary sometimes, to prepare us for the the way the mission field really is. You know, we try to think through the things that we lacked in our training and our experience. It's like, man, we wish when we were younger we had this, you know, something like this. And
yeah, I think students will appreciate kind of that immediate application aspect that you're talking about. Any kind of language requirements that you're looking for, or do you do some language learning as part of the training?
There is no language requirement. They need to speak English because we're going to do training in English. So, you know, majority of the refugees that we meet, you know, they're typically second language is going to be English or French. So if you have French Canadians, you know, or I mean, because they're coming from Africa or South Asia, and so they're either speaking. So, you know, our ministry is kind of like, you know, Christy and I we speak French, having been in Haiti and France for some years. So it's just kind of a hodgepodge of French, English. You know, if the migrants have been here for some time, obviously their kids too would speak Italian, but it's not a requirement. So if they're here, say for 9 months, you know, we have basic Italian classes that Italians teach at our center all the time. So they can, you know, I would even encourage, even like the morning, we have 2 mornings a week where the ladies come. That's an opportunity to not just learn some Italian if you're a woman, but also to befriend some of these ladies and, you know, get into their lives, and also learn to say ciao, buongiorno, you know, I want a coffee, whatever.
Ideally, what are you guys generally looking for team size?
You know, the apprenticeship is designed, we're not looking for, you know, 15 or 20 people. There's no way we could mentor and really be personal with that many people. So probably right now with the size of our long-term team, you know, ideally probably 4 to 6. You know, our permanent team right now is only 3 people. We have some people potentially coming in the near future, but so I'd say 4 to 6.
Do you have standard like intake dates that you try to do for the apprenticeship, or is it just kind of whenever people can come? How do you handle that?
The full apprenticeship is 9 months, and we also have a 3-month internship, and we also have people that come through short-term, different periods of time. You know, for the 9 month, you know, almost a year program, our beginning is September, so we go September to June. You know, with applications and things, we want to have that by May, June, because we have immigration things to work through. For the 3 month, you know, we have 2 times. You can come in September, do 3 months, or you can come in January. We got to kind of fix. There's 2 times a year for the 3 month, and once a year for the 9 month.
Good. Well, I mean, that's everything that I was wanting to know. Rachel, it sounds like you've got the things that you were looking for there.
Yeah.
Todd, anything else that you want to tell us that we feel like we might have missed in asking questions?
Yeah, I would just say, you know, especially someone who's wanting or needing exposure to, you know, Muslim people groups. Since May, we've been going into the homes of about 30, 35 families, you know, with food every month. And, you know, we're sitting in their homes and drinking tea, and, you know, we're asking them, can we pray for you? We're praying for them in Jesus' name and leaving gospel materials with them. But I think, you know, at the center and different levels like that, going into homes really gives people, you know, whatever image they have of Muslims, a completely different perspective, you know, just from the inside. I mean, being in a Muslim's home and just stuff like that, that I think that is invaluable when people are going to work with Muslims, being in their homes and hearing their heartaches and their troubles and realizing, man, you know, these people need Jesus just like anybody else. For someone especially, you know, interested in working among Muslim people groups, just an experience that, I mean, that's a training in itself, you know, just to have that exposure. So I think that would really help people.
I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this and to share your heart, and Rachel, for you to take the time to ask these questions.
I thank you guys. We're happy to be connected with you, and anything for the kingdom, man. We're glad to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll just work on finding some people to send your way now.
That's right.
Well, the Lord bless your work. That'll be great.
All right. So there we go. Hopefully that gives you the information that you need to be able to look for the right people for these opportunities. So thanks for taking a look at the video today. And I hope that you have some great opportunities for short-termers that can serve and learn in Rome among the diaspora.